Today I'm chatting with Vicky Rose, a brilliant baby sleep coach who supports families with kind, realistic sleep advice.
Everyone you meet after you've had a baby, one of the first questions out of their mouth is, are they good? Do they sleep?
So true.
Had one woman, bless her cotton socks, her baby needed to be swaddled with a dummy, held, bounced, shushed, all at once in order to get her baby to sleep. And she was just exhausted. If there was a one-size-fits-all for every baby of every age, we'd leave the hospital with the book and I'd be out of a job.
How do we get them to be taking those decent naps? Because to start with, it's quite common, isn't it, that they have the very short 30-minute naps and you feel so much success that you've just got them to sleep and then you pour that cup of tea and they're awake.
I know. All you do when you've got that 30 minutes is you look at your watch and you think, oh, I've only got 20 minutes. Oh, now I've only got 10 minutes. So you waste that 30 minutes anyway. So it's about working out how long your baby at that particular age can stay awake for before they show signs that they're tired and they're ready to nap. Half of you is thinking, right, I have a 4-month-old and I know the average awake window for 4 months is 2 hours. Mm-hmm. So if they've woken up at 7, then I know around 9 o'clock I'm going to look at the clock and then the other 50% is looking at them. General tired signs would be staring. So they just kind of go a bit like hazy, yawning, eye rubbing, or sometimes a bit of kind of ear pulling. Mm-hmm. Some babies are just brilliant and actually their eyebrows go red. Probably if you're getting to the whingy, the stage, you maybe missed a couple of cues in advance. Wind down time before a nap honestly makes a huge difference. For the overtired baby that doesn't show the signs, my advice is normally go by the hours and at 2 hours do the wind down. Because it's often then in the wind down time that you start to see the signs. Sing a lullaby. Day and night, the same song. Because again, it's about the cues, the subconscious to the brain that, this means I should be preparing the body for sleep. If it gets to the point where you are no longer feeling okay with contact naps or feeding to sleep or bouncing to sleep or whatever it is, some parents understandably can just feel touched out. If it isn't working for you or your baby, absolutely get some support to fix it. But if it is working for you, if you're happy and your baby's happy, then who am I to tell you that it's a bad habit? I don't really support parents who take 2 weeks out of their life, don't go to a baby class, don't see a person because we're going to fix the sleep in 2 weeks. Because that is just, your mental health is going to suffer. If your baby can fall asleep in bright light, very happily and nap, then I'm not going to tell you to spend money and put a blackout blind up. Yeah. But if your baby's waking really early in the morning because the light's coming in, then making it dark, it's just science. If we're using a method where parents are staying in the room, and you're stroking and shushing and they're just looking at you, no one's falling asleep with someone staring at them. I don't like the toys. Right.
Why is that?
The owls and the sheeps. Because if white noise works, essentially it's if we take that sleep pattern and the 4-month-old as an example, they fall asleep listening to shh. Now, if that goes off after 20 minutes or it's one of the toys that's designed to only come on when there's enough movement or noise, you've missed it. Yeah. You've missed the cue.
Yeah.
So it needs to be constant. And the volume of it shouldn't be any louder than a dishwasher or a washing machine. So I would rather teach a 6-month-old to self-settle than fix a parent's early rising. And I'll tell you why. Basically, early rising, in my professional opinion, is the hardest of any sleep issue to resolve because there are so many variables that cause it. So early rising can be caused by being overtired when you go to bed, so going to bed too late, not being tired enough when you go to bed.
Right.
Too much day sleep or not enough day sleep. It can be environmental. If you go in, pick them up, give them a feed in the hope to put them back to sleep, and I'm talking about babies who don't need that feed, you're just reinforcing the early wake because we're giving them calories.
Right.
If you go in and out and there's lots of crying and upset, again, you're just reaffirming that wake up time because it's so stimulating at that time. If you go in and give them toys to play with quietly or iPads or whatever, reinforcing it. Once they're upset, I would go into the room and I would stay the entire time. if you can get them to kind of lay down in the cot and you can stroke them or gently sing them a lullaby. If that's impossible because they're so upset, then sit on a chair in their room and just cuddle them. Not too much talking, no storybooks, no lights on. Then when it gets to what you would consider, well, what I would consider a normal morning time, which is 6 a.m., not 7.
Yeah.
Then I would leave the room for literally 10 seconds, come back in, good morning.
Right.
Open the curtains, expose them to all that natural light, trying to reset their body clock. Now, all of that said, some babies are just early birds. Imagine that you'd left your mobile phone, in a drawer in their bedroom. And you're like, oh no, I've left it in. And you sneak in and you open the drawer and it creaks and the baby shifts and you go, don't wake up. Yeah. Don't wake up. And they just kind of sigh and roll over and go to sleep. That's what you're trying to do.
Okay.
Because then what we're doing is we're bringing them from a deep sleep into a light sleep, and that's going to start a new sleep cycle. If your baby is usually waking between 5 and 6, then I'd probably say by 6:30 wake them. And if they're usually waking between 6 and 7, I'd say by 7:30 wake them. We have to balance ourselves and what we need and our babies and what they need. And it's very hard as a new parent. This new guilt switch in our brain clicks in. If you're not happy and if your mental health isn't good, you're not going to be the best parent you can be anyway. I also don't agree with all naps having to be at home in the cot either.
Yeah.
I think that's really trapping for parents.
So what would you recommend?
I would say if you're trying to sort out routine and if one of your goals is to teach them how to fall asleep in their cot, then at least one nap a day should be in the cot. You definitely don't need to be coming home and spending, a long lunchtime nap and then another nap. If you don't want to. If that works for you, brilliant.
You just start to get into a routine, they get ill or the teeth are coming through and there's just always something.
Always something. I'm never going to say to a parent whose baby has a temperature and a virus to do any of the sleep, practices that I recommend. You do whatever your baby needs until they're better.
How do you feel about dummies?
Dummies can be great up until a point. I'd say probably about 80% of the clients I've worked with dummies from around 4 months start causing more problems than they help. Self-soothing, to me, is a baby who's left upset to sort themselves out, to soothe themselves. Self-settling, to me, is a baby who knows how to put themselves to sleep. We all have the capacity to be able to put ourselves to sleep, okay? But it's still a learnt experience, just like walking. So when we learn to walk, we don't get up one day and just walk across the room, right? We take a step or two and then we fall on our bum and we might cry. And then we're like clapped and encouraged and we might take another one. And then we get to that stage, you may remember with your little ones, where they'll hold our hand, but the minute we let go, they'll sit.
Yes.
Because they're scared of falling.
Yes.
Okay, so it takes time to learn it. There's a huge difference between placing a baby down, leaving the room, and them crying it out. And another method called controlled crying, which I also don't use, which would be putting the baby down, leaving for 5 minutes, coming back to let them know that you're there and they're okay, and leaving for 10 minutes, coming back and leaving. I also don't use that method.
Okay.
Because what I believe is, and what I know from 10 years, is that you never have to leave your baby alone to scream in order for them to learn how to fall asleep.
Right.
It is no longer my job to put you to sleep. If I've made that decision as a parent, it is always my job to reassure you if you're upset. What I don't agree with is people who say, well, they'll learn it when they're ready. How can you learn something if the opportunity is taken away from you? How can I learn to walk if every time I'm left to do it, I cry, my mum picks me up? Don't ever feel pressure to do something that you don't feel comfortable with. Remember, there is no should. So if you're talking to your friends and their babies are sleeping differently to yours and they're like, well, you should now be doing this. Absolutely not.